Yo, yo, yo. It's Friday, baby. What's up, chat? What it do, fam? What we worked so hard for. Am I right? That weekend's upon us, man. Good to see you guys, as always. We've got the news, and then we'll dive into a little bit of Warframe, and then we'll do a little bit more Divinity today, yeah? I'm sure in the news we'll get some stuff for probably some more GDC, Game Developers Conference, finishes up today, so maybe we'll see a little bit more. We saw some really cool stuff yesterday in the showcases that popped off for Unreal Engine 5, stuff like that. We got to see some of that yesterday. And then we ended yesterday with the, what was it? Future Game Show Showcase. So we got to see some cool stuff out of that too. And we'll probably see some stuff in the news about that this morning as well. And so some of it will probably be a little bit of a recap, but it'll be all right. On that note, man, you guys look great. Dude, I can tell that you're ready for Friday. Let's go ahead and dive in here. If you're wondering what we're listening to this morning, this is the jam. We're in the Crypt of the Necro Dancer vibes. This is the soundtrack we're listening to this morning. It is a rhythm-based adventure RPG game. It's supposed to be very good. I haven't played it yet, but it is on my list of games that I would like to play at some point in the near future. So, but cool soundtrack, extensive soundtrack, and it is a iconic game. People tend to, as far as rhythm-based games go especially, this is a game that has really caught people's attention over the years since it was released, and if you dig those kind of games, you should definitely be checking this out. Cool soundtrack, too. There we go. All right, let's get into this news. All right. Microsoft says we haven't pulled any games from PlayStation. This is going to be more coming out of the battle between Microsoft and PlayStation regarding the pending acquisition of Activision Blizzard by Microsoft. So we'll see what's going on there. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles graphic novel The Last Ronin is becoming a video game. Okay. Yeah, we already hit on the Sonic Origins stuff yesterday, so that is in the news segment from yesterday. You can find that on our YouTube channel, okay? So if you're interested, you can find that in the news segment from yesterday. Go check it out. Yeah. Let's pull this up. We'll skim this. For everybody that didn't get to attend or here with us while we watched the Future Game Show to end the stream yesterday, or you didn't get to take a look at this yourself, then everything announced at the Future Game Show. Yeah, so where do we want to go here? Games Radar, maybe? That sounds good. We'll go with Games Radar for it. I have a number of games that got wish listed off of it. One in particular I'm really excited for that's releasing in like a week. Was it Dredge? Seems like a really cool game that we might start playing pretty soon. But they showcased a lot. It was like an hour and a half long showcase, man. I wasn't expecting that. And they showcased a lot of games, which was pretty cool. And kudos to them for not filling it with a whole bunch of like, what was the show we watched here recently? There was 2 days worth of dude, I can't remember what showcase that was. It was like 2 days worth of 3 hours. It was IGN FanFest. That's what we watched. IGN FanFest. And it was brutal. It was brutal to sit through. For just really looking to get game content out of it. Basically because IGN FanFest is not just for video games. It's for shows and stuff like that too. But dude, it was just filled with content that was like kind of cringy, boring interview processes and stuff like that. And it was like, for a lot of us, really, the amount of content we were looking for out of it was about maybe an hour tops. and they split it between 6 hours worth of showcase between 2 different days, and it was brutal to sit through. So in contrast to that, Future Game Show yesterday gave us an hour and a half of basically just pure gaming content, which is nice. For a lot of us that don't care. And again, look, I get the IGN FanFest thing was not just gaming stuff, but to appeal to specific audiences, and I know what they were doing. They were trying to make sure they were pulling in as many people as possible by not doing this. But I will probably not watch an IGN FanFest again because I don't want to have to sit through that much content just to get a small amount of gaming stuff. As opposed to them just telling you when they're going to be showcasing all the gaming content, not having to sit through the boring, cringy, fluff content they have for the other 5 hours that they're doing. I don't know. They did a good job. And we'll review it. We'll see what all they've got for everybody that didn't get to take a look, and just for a nice little review for all of us. %74% of women play mobile games daily. Really? Of all women in the world? Because this is not stating any kind of other, specific demographic of women. This is stating 74% of women, meaning all women, play mobile games daily. Seems like a clickbait title, dude. I'm gonna stay away from it. That doesn't seem legit. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. Who knows? And it didn't have anything. My perception of that not being a real number, a legit number, had nothing to do with it having to do with women. By the way, let me make that very clear. That just seems like they just threw a number out there, like a very high number. I don't know. Or maybe they just had a really small sample size or something to go off of. I don't know. It doesn't seem like 70, like 3/4 of the world population plays. The world's female population plays mobile games on a daily basis. That seems crazy. Maybe that's where we're at, though, man, with gaming and technology and stuff, though. Maybe that's just, I don't know. Yeah, Dark Descent. We checked this out 2 days ago. Marines versus Xenomorphs and Aliens Dark Descent. This game actually, so they just showcased a new trailer for this game, and it looks pretty dope. No kidding. For sure, anybody that's into Alien as a form of entertainment from the movies or the other video games, or even just the Geiger-esque kind of universe of art and things of that nature, or even just strategy games, kind of. This is going to be more of a real-time strategy game as opposed to a turn-based strategy game. But dude, it looks pretty solid. It looks pretty cool. I like what I'm seeing so far out of it. Epic Game Store gives out 2 free games to close out March. Yeah, we've talked about this, but I'll bring it up. That way, anybody that's not familiar can go grab their games. Take-Two Interactive has acquired Game Club. Witchfire reveals a surprisingly deep magic system. We saw some Witchfire stuff yesterday out of the Future Game Show stuff. So let's pull this over there. That'll probably be a little bit of some additional content out of the recap from Future Game Show stuff. Really? Redfall Studio is working to fix controversial always online. So if you didn't know, Redfall is a can be played as a single player and a multiplayer game, right? But they've caught a lot of criticism here lately themselves, as well as some other games and developers. The big other one that comes to mind that isn't out yet, that is coming, but has been delayed at this point, is Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League. That one is in the same, has found themselves in the same predicament, if you will, as Redfall. As far as the always online single player aspect goes, they've gotten a lot of criticism over that. And I can see both sides of it, really. I mean, I think from a developer standpoint, you've got a game. You've got games that have a huge focus of being multiplayer. Yeah, there's a multiplayer focus of these games, but they allow people to play them in single player as well. But the single player, it's not like a campaign mode. I don't think. I think it's like you're going into the same kind of experience of multiplayer, but playing as single player. So I think where I can relate to why devs might do this kind of thing in these types of titles is to eliminate the potential for people to be playing offline in a single player mode, inject any kind of unwanted items or, harmful code or things like that into the game in an offline state, and then try to, bring it into an online environment as well. If the game's always online, it's easier to monitor that kind of stuff. And but I don't know. Each game's going to be different. The way the mechanics are set up, the environment's set up, and the back end for monitoring and the kinds of methods they're using to try and prevent that kind of thing in real time versus checking a game as it syncs up from being in an offline state to an online state. And so I don't know, apparently Redfall has taken it to heart how much criticism they've gotten over this, and they're trying to see if they can potentially remove the always online requirement. We'll see what happens there. They should just put Chris Pratt's head on there now, right? Too soon? We watched this yesterday too. The Rivian R1T demonstrates new Unreal Engine for video. This was part of what we saw come out of GDC yesterday. I think it actually happened on Wednesday, but we saw it in the news yesterday morning, and we took a look at that video. It's really, really interesting. Unreal Engine 5 is incredible. It's apparently very, very intuitive, very easy for developers to use. A lot of the incorporations that it has for developers are just above anything else any other engine has really brought to the table, and the realism that is being captured throughout the development process of what is coming out of software being developed through Unreal Engine is incredible. We've seen it for a while now, even before Unreal Engine went public, or UE5, Unreal Engine 5 went public, or released to the public. We had seen developers that had already been utilizing it in some of their software, and we knew it was good. But man, it is an incredible thing. But we did check this video out yesterday's news segment. Go check that out on YouTube if you're interested. Elden Ring gets ray tracing, but you'll probably turn it off. Why is it making the game run bad? Worse than it did whenever it released? Even the developers recommending only using ray tracing at 1080p. Jesus. I will take a look, dude. We've talked enough about the Wii U 3DS stores closing in like 3 days. If you're still interested in getting any kind of digital games for your Wii U or 3DS, you need to go grab them now because their eShops are shutting down. Nintendo sucks like this. They're terrible. I gripe about it all the time. I'm going to not get into a rant about it right now because it's exhausting for me. But I do rant about it often because it's really gross. I hate what Nintendo does. But, basically, if you're interested in getting any additional titles, digital titles for your 3DS or Wii U from the Nintendo eShop, you need to do it now. They're going away. Excuse me. Okay. Metacritic has released its annual video game publisher rankings. So we'll take a look at where all the publishers are ranking. How Twitch lost its way. Um, well, I think we all know where things started going bad, don't we? I don't think I need to say it out loud. I think we all know. Um, unfortunately. Yeah, it's not looking good either. Not looking good, man. I actually posted a video the other day about this is on YouTube as well. I mean, I'll link it right now. It's there's a video that I clipped out of our news segment. Yeah, there we go. You haven't seen this. Basically, we hit on an article. There's been some news here recently. Not only did Twitch's CEO, that's been there for roughly 16 years, step down, which was we saw this like about a week ago, and then a few days later, we see that Twitch has fired a fifth of their workforce, and This is after taking their revenue splits from a 70-30 split, 70 being, and this is for partners on Twitch, 70% of subscriptions going to the broadcaster and 30% of that going to Twitch as a company. Twitch decided last year to change that to a 50-50 split. So they're getting 20% more. They're getting half of that, right? For each subscription on Twitch, they decided they needed half of it. Yeah. And not only that, but they had record revenue last year, record revenue, and then they fire a fifth of their workforce. And so that coming out after the news of their CEO that had been at the top of the company for 16 years, really, I mean, I find it hard to believe that it's just a coincidence that their CEO for 16 years decided to just step down amidst all of this stuff that was happening, you know. Maybe, but I find it a bit too much of a coincidence, and I'm guessing that there was probably some kind of pushback. Yeah, yo, Mithril, what's up, buddy? Some kind of pushback from the previous CEO saying, you know, this isn't what we should be doing, or something of that nature, and not being able to have any support behind it, and just wasn't comfortable with it and decided to be done. I'm guessing, even though the CEO stated it was wanting to spend time with family moving forward. I don't know, man. I'm not buying it. You know, you can see my sentiments in that YouTube video that I just posted, but um, yeah, it it just sucks. It sucks. Um, and it's not like they're going, yo, we're trying to pull in more money so we can build the platform better, and we can, you know, make it a better place for content creators, and um, things like that, and a better place for our employees and stuff. No, record revenue last year, and then they fire a fifth of their workforce, you know. And again, one of the things that I express in that video that I posted right there in chat is, you know, people are gonna go, oh, well, they're just trimming the fat. No, they're not, dude. That's not the way that works. Trimming the fat in business is a part of continual um, worker. What's the word I'm looking for? It's like it's maintaining oversight of how well your workers are doing. Right. It's a matter of continual evaluation of how employees are performing, right? Workplace performance evaluation. And it's a continual thing. And if your workers are not performing, right, it's a matter of a thing that happens, and occasionally there's like small bulks of people that will get released here and there together because they're not meeting that performance standard or whatever. But for an entire fifth of your workforce to be dumped at the same time, and then go, oh, we're just trimming the fat, and for people to go, oh, they probably just weren't performing well, or you know, these are the workers that weren't pulling their weight or whatever. No, dude, I don't believe that. That's the same thing a lot of these other big businesses were trying to say too. You know, like Microsoft firing 11 to 12,000 people. It's like, dude, you can't tell me that the 11 to 12,000 people, all of these people were not pulling their weight, you know, and all of the performance evaluation just came down at the very same time when all of the industry, all of the tech industry was firing all these people at the same time. It was trending, dude. Everybody's like, oh, well, everybody else is firing people too, so maybe if we do it now, we won't get as much criticism because there are other people doing it too, you know? So, um, yeah, I don't know. It does suck to see Twitch going this way. Jesus, really? Yo, and who owns Twitch, dude? You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah. Yeah, that's what I was alluding to just a little bit ago. I was like, I don't think I need to talk about, like, because that's what brought this up was like how Twitch lost its way. I was like, I think we all know where this started kind of going downhill, right? I don't think it's hard to see the correlation between where Twitch started trending downwards as far as for people that are have been a big part of this platform, whether you be a broadcaster, content creator, a viewer, or whatever. I don't think it's hard to see where Twitch started going downhill and where that correlation began. Ultimately, and again, I don't think that it's not like they went, yo, we're going to start doing 50-50 splits for partners, trying to bring in more money, try to boost up our platform, hire some more people, try to really get this, support the content creators more, try to get some better stuff going on for people, for the viewers, and that's not what they're doing, man. That's not the case. Record profits last year, firing a fifth of their workforce, like no kind of, we talk about this a lot too, no kind of consistency between the way they punish people on the platform and stuff. It's gross, dude. It's really it sucks because a lot of us have been a part of Twitch
Now
for
that
a
we're
long
friends,
time.
is it okay if I pet you?
Bro, you didn't need to do
Thanks,
that,
dude.
You didn't need to do that. You didn't need to do that. What's up? What's up,
Wick
man?
6634 just gifted 1 sub.
Oh, bro. You know what? I got you, Doc. I got you. Here.
Now that we're friends, is it okay if
There
I
you
pet
go.
you?
That's for the Crosby
Thanks,
dude
dude.
getting his first goal in Dallas. How about that? How about that, dude? I'll match you, bro.
OutsiderAntics gifted
I'll
Mithril
match you,
Flame
bro.
a subscription. OutsiderAntics gifted a tier 1 sub to Mithril Flame.
There you go. Yeah, you're welcome, buddy. You're welcome. Wick and I had a little bit of a friendly wager going on last night. Where our hockey teams were playing each other, so we had a bit of a friendly wager, and my team came out on top. But Sidney Crosby, who plays for Wick's team, did get his first ever goal in Dallas. I think Dallas was the only stadium he had never scored in, or something like that. Was that correct? I have to go back and look. I think that was the only stadium he had never scored in. Yeah, I think it was the only stadium he had never scored in, and he scored in Dallas last night. So, and dude, he's been in the league what? Jesus, dude, since he was 18. He's 35 now or something like that. So it's been a long time, man. Yeah. I didn't grow up with it either, Mithril. I didn't grow up with ice hockey where I was from, really. And but whenever I became a young adult, man, I really got into it, and it's like my favorite sport, man. I love it. I love it. Yeah. Oh, nice, dude. Yeah. Right on. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Wick. I appreciate it, buddy. Thanks, dude. Yeah. Hey, dude. We'll figure out your PC issues. You see what I sent you in Discord this morning, dude? You see what I sent you? But I mean, I'll stay away from this. We've talked enough about it. I've got that video right there. People can check out on YouTube. It's, I don't know, but yeah, I mean, Twitch doesn't feel like the Twitch of old, and I think it's an uncomfortable spot for a lot of people that are part of the platform. And a big part of it's because Twitch has been a really nice place for people to get into content creation and live streaming for a long time, and now it's like it's feeling not good. There are things happening that are sketchy. Oh yeah, I know, dude. Yeah, I know. Yeah. We got a lot of people around here. Thanks, Mithril. I appreciate it. Yeah. That's what I shot Wick some stuff this morning to take a look at. We'll get it. We'll get you helped out, dude. Yeah, I appreciate you being willing to help me. Yeah. So Wick's building a new PC, and he's running through some stuff right now, but he was just too tired to keep messing with it last night. But We got all kinds of tech-minded people. Yeah. There's power. The motherboard's powering up, but it's not posting. So, I shot him an article this morning about checking postcodes, and so there are a few different things, Doug. It could be RAM not seated right. It could be power button not connected correctly, from the PC case. There could be, like I said, if you bought your motherboard a long time ago and the CPU at that point was not supported by that BIOS, your BIOS might need to be updated, but you should be getting a postcode, dude. You should be getting a postcode. And I sent you an article, so just check into it. Postcode can let you know. Power button not connected, that could be it. It could be. There are a lot of things. But we just got to kind of go step by step to figure it out. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, you should be able to get to the BIOS with minimal things going on as long as everything's connected right. But that's one of the other big things is like, I'm pretty sure if the CPU is not, supported by the chipset, by the BIOS, by the BIOS, then there might need to be a BIOS update before it'll actually post correctly into the BIOS. You know what I mean? So that's something we have to look into too, because I think Wick bought that motherboard a long time ago, and we'll have to dig into it. We'll figure it out, buddy. We'll help you get it figured out. It won't be a big deal. I'm willing to bet. Thanks for the gifty, dude. Appreciate it. Not usually, anyways, Mithril. There are some expensive ones out there, though, dog. You can spend a grip on a motherboard, dude, if you want to. You can spend a grip, man. I usually, I don't. I don't. I mean, I usually go for a pretty solid motherboard because I like to have a lot of options and good amount of ports and stuff like that. But I don't go for those like stupid expensive ones. You know what I mean? Eh, You know, there's some crazy ones out there, man. I mean, you can go spend like 700, 800, up to $1,000 on a flipping motherboard. But I mean, for me, that's like overkill, dude. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. To each their own, dude. But for me personally, that's a bit absurd. Well, MLB The Show have year-to-year saves. Let's take a look at that. Wick will be interested, I'm sure. D4 fans claim a cutscene's breaking their graphics cards. Oh, fantastic. Five Nights at Freddy's getting a Switch announcement. EA loot boxes are not gambling. Canadian judge rules. You can now play classic games on your Apple TV with 8-bit Duos wireless controller. We hit on this the other day. I'm not going to dive into this article. 8-bit Duos controllers are getting Apple support. So they've already rolled out Apple support to a good chunk of their controllers, and it's coming to even more of them. So whether it be playing on, connecting to your smartphone or any kind of other Apple device, that is happening now. Yeah. Right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's a big. We'll talk about it when I pull the article up. Clearly never played FIFA. Clearly never played any EA sports game, dude. any EA Sports game, the Ultimate Team, right? Yeah. Jesus. Yeah. It's all Gamba, dude. I mean, we'll talk about it when I get in there, dude. Because I've got my own sentiments on that issue. Look, I mean, adults are gonna adult, man, and ultimately, it's like trying to tell an adult where to spend their money is I don't know that that's really the play. But I do feel like those kinds of mechanics need to come with support options for people for trying to help them. Like, if you have, you know, if you feel like you have a gambling addiction, like there should be disclaimers like this is considered a gambling type of mechanic, and if you have issues with gambling, then we have support support phone numbers, and these are support organizations that can help you. And especially, it should not be accessible to underage people or people of under a certain age. I think I'll talk about it more. Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. Yeah. But I mean, if you want to get into that part of it, like the whole loot box thing, it's the same thing. It's gotcha, right? I mean, that's like all mobile games. It's like all mobile games basically have not all, but a lot of them, have traditionally been built on the gotcha aspect, which is also gambling. It's the same thing, right? You pay money most of the time if you're not willing or not able to grind for in-game currency, and it is a gambling mechanic. It gives you that thrill, and it makes you want to keep going to try to get better stuff. And it's the same exact thing. Same thing. It is loot boxing, man. Yeah, we saw the battle shaper. We'll see more of that this morning in some of the review stuff from yesterday's showcase. Lord of the Rings Gollum release date revealed after delays. Did we not already see Gollum's release date? We knew it was coming, at least. I know. Atari's acquisition of Night Dive Studios gets mixed reactions. We saw yesterday that they acquired Night Dive. I wonder why mixed reactions there. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I mean, time is money, right? That's been a saying for a long time because that's also true, depending on how you look at it, and so you're not necessarily wrong there either. And again, I think it's hard to I think for countries to go. We'll talk about it, dude. I'm gonna start ranting. We'll talk about it when I get into that article. I want to get off on a tangent, dude. Imagine that. Imagine me going on a rant, dude. 9 minutes of gameplay footage from Remnant 2. Ooh, see if we have time for that. Let's see if we have time for that. We probably will. Yeah, we read about this yesterday. Horizon Forbidden West Burning Shores DLC requires that you have to have finished the main story uh, before you can actually play the DLC. We read that yesterday. I figured there are going to be some people that had mixed feelings about that, but that's the way they decided to implement that. So there you go. I'm not going to dive into this because we read about it yesterday. Look at yesterday's news segment. Find where we talk about Horizon Forbidden West DLC. It gives dates for it coming out and all kinds of stuff. So I can't remember what they were exactly. I think it's next month. In the next month, I think. I think. let's stick with this. Let's get in here. We got plenty of articles here. Will MLB The Show 23 have year-to-year saves? Wick, here you go, Doug. The annual sports video game releases. Probably the most common criticism is these games feel like a fully priced roster update. It can be hard to argue that since it would be difficult to make every new game in an annual series truly stand out from the others. MLB The Show 23 faces the same criticism every year. It's a baseball game that can have people investing hundreds of hours into it as they build their franchise or improve their creative player. What if you wanted to carry that progress with you, though? Here's what you need to know. Does it have year saves? No. Never has. Doesn't mean that they won't ever do it, but that would be big news if they did. You will be starting from scratch in every faucet here. Also, it is unknown and probably unlikely that feature will be implemented in the future. Stadiums created in previous games also will not appear in MLB The Show 23. So there you go. Sorry, guys. Man, that crept up on me. Dude, I was not ready for that. Oh, man. So, yeah. Yo, thanks, Ferret. What's up, buddy? Happy Friday, dude. Yeah, so I kind of figured that was going to be the case, but I don't know why they don't do that. I don't know why they don't have that implemented. Yeah, Friday, dude, let's go. For so many sports games to be this far along with some of these franchises and to not allow you to like take your progress from one year to the next, or stadium creations from one game to the next, 1 year to the next year, or whatever. That feels pretty disappointing for a lot of people, I'm sure. Oh, yeah. Diablo 4 fans claim a cutscene is breaking their graphics cards. My GPU is dead. D4 players have claimed that the game's recent beta has caused their 3080 Ti graphics cards to break. As reported by PC Gamer, a number of D4 fans have reported their RTX 3080 Ti cards breaking while playing the game. While playing Diablo for about 20 minutes during a cutscene in the chapel, my monitors turned off, reads one post. Had to restart my PC and motherboard is now posting error code 97. Nothing is working. My GPU is dead. Several players in this forum post have also claimed that their RTX 3080 Ti also caused their computers to crash during the cutscene where Lilith converts a small village's chapel congregation into serving her. While most reports claim that only experience PC crashes, others like this post also state their graphics card has been destroyed by the game. Yikers. I got to the church where the flashback scene plays, then fans on my GPU went to max, all three monitors went black. I then killed the power, smelled that burnt electronic smell, wrote one player. Waited a bit, then tried to power back on, and monitors stayed black after a bit, killed power, popped open my case, tried to power back on. Mobo has post-error lights and shows a solid white, which means error with video card. My Gigabyte GeForce RTX 3080 Ti is dead in the water. Why did you put it in water, though? That's not good for electronics. Barrett said, bless you.
Thank you, Barrett.
That was my daughter, and she said, thank you. She's being a good kiddo right now. Yeah. She's unloading the dishwasher for me. Looks at me like, oh, here we go. Kid slaves again, dude. Son's always making breakfast. Daughter's doing the dishes, She just said it's not slave labor if you volunteer to do it. Bam. In before Wick, dude. Yo, Peter, what's up, buddy? Yeah. Wick's always trolling me out because my son will make me eggs all the time in the morning and stuff too, because I'll be streaming and my son's been learning to cook, he's been learning to cook and he enjoys it, you know. But he likes food, man, like like I do, you know. So he'll like get up and make scrambled eggs, and then he'll make me some too, you know. So he'll just like bring me a plate of eggs and toast, which is dope. I'm like, yeah, dude, let's go. Yeah, they're not. It was a process, you know. He did pretty good though, man. He did pretty good. But the wife and I both, you know, we both cook, and so we both like kind of gave him some tips and pointers and stuff, and oversaw his process of cooking, and he's making some banging eggs at this point, dude. Yeah, they're really good, dude. They're really good. Yeah, yeah, he's killing it. So, while numerous reports from players suggest there is indeed an issue, it's possible that Diablo 4 is merely triggering an existing issue with the cards themselves. In 2021, fans of Amazon Games' MMO New World claimed the game was destroying their 3090 cards. I remember this. The reality was that poor workmanship was to blame for the affected batch. Yeah. Peter, what's up, man? How you doing? Happy Friday, guys. Well, we'll see what comes of this, dude. That's a bit concerning, yeah. Huh. Well, if you got a 3080 Ti, dude, and you're planning on playing the beta this weekend, you might be very, very careful. I don't know, man. Yeah. It's good to just I mean, honestly, go ahead and what you can do quite often is in your, like if you're running an NVIDIA card, you can go into your NVIDIA settings and just set a limit for all applications. You can go into your NVIDIA settings and set a limit for all applications to not exceed a certain frame rate, and it can prevent certain issues like this from happening, right? That's something that you can do. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's absolutely safer, no doubt. So it's not a hard thing to do, and all you have to do is pull up your NVIDIA settings. There's like two different sections. You can set settings, if you didn't know. You can set settings per application, or you can set settings for just like as a default for all applications. And if you go to that default setting for all applications, you can find an FPS limiter, and you can set that for a specific setting. Yeah, there you go, Peter. Yeah. Quite often what you'll do is you'll set that at like whatever your native, you know, frame rate cap is for your monitors, you know. But just depending on what works best for you, or what you know, whatever. But it is a safer way to go about doing things. So I would at least highly recommend people take a look at doing that if you're playing Diablo 4 beta this weekend. Yeah. Five Nights at Freddy's game gets surprise Nintendo Switch announcement. Multiple Five Nights at Freddy's games have been made available on the Switch over the last few years. One notable exception is Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach, the most recent main installment in the series. However, it seems that it will be changing sometime in the near future. Apparently, the game is on display at Game Developers Conference, which today is the last day of GDC 2023. It's been popping off all week. And GameSplain was able to capture footage of the in-progress build. Scott Games and developer Steel Wool Studios had not made any announcements about the game coming to Switch. So this is pretty unexpected. Regardless, it should be good news for fans of the series. GameSplain's video of Security Breach running on Switch can be found below. Let's take a look.
Hey everyone, Joey here, and earlier this week we went to GDC to check out some indie games coming to Nintendo Switch, and one of these games is Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach. We got a chance to watch and play some of it, and we were also provided footage of it. If you want to hear our impressions of the game though, you should check out our discussion on all the games we got to play at GDC, including this one, but first, you should finish watching this video. So, enjoy!
That's usually one of those things that people, just kind of, the more you get comfortable with your rig and just tech in general and PC, you tend to learn more of and get as you go along, Seems good. Donk. I've never played a Five Nights at Freddy's game. Yeah, I don't really plan to either. You know what I am excited for, though? This Scaretober, I'm really excited to play Choo Choo Charles, dude.
I smell pizza.
Excuse me. It'll be cool, dude. We'll have a good time. I'll play it for you, dude. I'll play it for you. All you gotta do is just hang out and enjoy the show. Yeah, it looks like it runs pretty well, man. There you go. Cool. Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach, first released in 2021 on PlayStation 4, 5, and PC before heading to Stadia and Xbox last year. While Security Breach had notable bugs and issues, it seems that the Switch build is looking pretty impressive so far. Remains to be seen how the final game will perform, but this is a good sign right now. Many of the comments on the YouTube video seem to be positive. Unfortunately, there's no indication when the finished game will release, so Switch fans will just have to wait patiently or settle for the existing versions. Yeah, okay. Cool. If you need more out of that, they talk a little bit about the adaptation coming out and stuff like that, but there you go. EA loot boxes, not gambling. Canadian judge rules. All right, we'll talk about this in a second. We talk about this kind of thing quite often, man. This is a hot topic in the gaming industry nowadays. A Canadian judge has rejected claims that loot boxes employed by video games publisher EA can constitute gambling. I disagree. Judge Justice Margot Fleming of British Columbia's Supreme Court said that gambling must involve the risk of losing or gaining something of real-world value. This judge is an old person. I'm saying it, dude. This judge is an old person. Which was absent in EA's video games. Quote, unlike a casino chip, virtual currency and virtual items and loot boxes can never be cashed out to gain money. What do you mean virtual currency can never be cashed out to gain money? What do you think crypto is, dude? Yeah, there's all kinds of different ways that you can actually sell this stuff off. But like I said, this is either somebody that's just absolutely like ignorant about the way, the virtual world works. That's all it can be. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. However, she ruled that a class action lawsuit against the games company could proceed. This was based on the complaint that EA's loot boxes may have adopted deceptive acts or practices. Oh, bro, there's no doubt about that. I would say that's a given. Risk and reward. A loot box is a consumable in-game item that offers players randomized chances to win virtual items or skills that may be necessary for player advancement through the game. While they occur naturally within the game, players can often use real cash to buy in-game currency to splurge on loot boxes. The element of chance and reward mechanisms involves having long-drawn comparisons to gambling. The lawsuit argued that loot boxes and their virtual items had intrinsic value because they could be sold on third-party platforms. Yeah. The judge found this to be false, noting they could only be traded on EA's own auction platform in return for virtual currency. That's not true, dude. That's the way EA wants it to be, but they're not able to regulate it like that very well. Here's what's rough. This is what's rough. When it comes to things like this and you deal with big companies, I always assume that there's some kind of like elbow rubbing or like the company, like I can just see like a picture of the company like stuffing a wad of cash into like the judge's pocket or something. You know what I mean? When it comes to politics and things like that, I can't help but think, because I mean, obviously there's so much corruption in the world. You know what I mean? That you would hope that's not the case, but I also can't help but think that that quite possibly could be the case as well, you know? And so this seems very short-sighted, in my opinion, by this judge. That seems ignorant, in my opinion. And look, here's my. This has always been my kind of stance on this side of things. Do I believe that it should be banned necessarily? No. Is it very much a gambling mechanic? For sure. No doubt about it. Just because gambling has become synonymous with, like casinos and stuff, it doesn't mean that gambling can't be done in other forms and fashion as we evolve with technology, right? And I think that's where you get these people that are not able to see past what it has always been, and the fact that a concept such as gambling is going to evolve while technology evolves, and as we evolve. So gambling absolutely already has, and in the gaming world, that this is what gambling is. Aside from just going and getting on gambling websites, which is like, virtual gambling or whatever, not seeing an actual casino, in video games, this is a gambling mechanic. Again, the way my stance on it is this: adults, you make your money, and ultimately, for the most part, it's on you to be responsible with, your life and how you're going to spend your money and things of that nature, and try to, so I don't know. I think that these kinds of mechanics should be kept away from kids, because kids are, their brains aren't fully formed yet. They don't understand how, like, the addictive tendencies that come along with things like gambling. They haven't been educated on these kinds of mechanics, and they need more time before they get introduced to these kinds of things, in my opinion, before they are able to dive in and really access them and be able to address them in a mature fashion, right? So, yeah, for sure, Mithril, yeah. That's my opinion on it. That's not necessarily going to be everybody's opinion, and it might not be popular. My big thing is for adults that want to engage in these kinds of mechanics, gambling, loot box kinds of mechanics in video games. It's their money. Let them do what they want to do, but there should absolutely, I think that there needs to be regulations for it, and requirements for it, that ensure that any kind of publisher or developer that wants to push out gambling-esque mechanics, whether it be loot boxes or anything else that can be, looked at as some kind of gambling mechanic in video games, they have support options for people, and disclaimers. This mechanic has gambling types of it can appeal to gambling tendencies, and if you find it hard to deal with these kinds of things, it might benefit you to stay away. Or if you find yourself unable to it seems like you might be getting addicted to this and it is affecting your life, we have support for you to access, phone numbers and organizations you can contact. And but ultimately, you are an adult. Disclaimer: this is on you to spend. If you're spending your money, understand that you are not necessarily going to be getting anything back in return aside from in-game, content. Nothing real world, I think it's those kinds of things that have to go along with it. But there needs to be support options for people, because there are addictive gambling tendencies that come along with these kinds of mechanics, and people need support for it. Gambling is a very addictive thing for people, and whether it's sitting in a casino doing it, sitting at a computer and playing some kind of virtual slot machine, or playing a game that is a gacha game that you're dropping a bunch of money on for different kinds of characters, or opening packs of EA Ultimate Team stuff. It's gambling. It gives people that same thrill. It makes them want to keep going. And a lot of people have a hard time stopping, man. Yeah, absolutely. Look, I mean, I know a lot of people that have had issues with, there are a lot of people in the world that have issues with gambling. I'm fortunate enough, dude. It doesn't appeal to me at all. I don't get a thrill out of it, man. But I know a lot of people that do, and it can be a devastating thing for people that don't know how to deal with it correctly. My main thing, I think that it's important for people to understand, is if you want to gamble, whatever form or fashion it is, I think one of the best things you can do for yourselves, set a loss limit and set a win limit before you ever go into any kind of situation where you're prepared to gamble. This is the amount of money you're willing to lose. This is the amount of money that if you win, you're done. You win this amount of money, or you get this certain item or whatever in a game, you're done. You don't keep going. If you lose this amount of money, you're done. You don't keep going, and I think that's where a lot of people get lost, is they don't do that. And they just straight down the rabbit hole, dude. They can't stop, But to say that it's not gambling at all, I think that's very short-sighted. The Lord of the Rings Gollum release date revealed after multiple delays. Lord of the Rings Gollum has been wandering through Middle-earth for years in search of a solid release date. Seems to have finally found one. The stealth game is coming out on May 25th on PlayStation 4, 5, Xbox One, Series X, S, and PC. It definitely takes discipline. But at least that's a start. You know what I mean? At least that's a start. If you go in without having that kind of, goal in mind, if you go into a gambling situation with just no kinds of goals of limits, you're really setting yourself up for failure. For anybody that has any kind of addictive tendencies for gambling, you're at there's a much higher propensity for you to just get super lost. You know what I mean? And just go way down. Not that, it does. It takes a lot of willpower, a lot of discipline. Oh yeah. Well, yeah. I think there's a big difference nowadays too, Ferret. Yeah. I think that for younger generations, it's like, dude, if you've seen a casino, I feel like being physically in person for casinos and so that seems nowadays to me more like like an older person thing, whereas the virtual gambling aspect of things is more towards, you know, the younger generation. You know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, but it seems anytime I see a casino or anything, it's not filled with like a lot of young people, you know. And I fail to believe that there aren't young people gambling. A bunch of old people just like sitting in there doing their thing all the time. Maybe it's just because they have more time. I don't know, you know. But I do think that you know, obviously, you know, for the younger generations, we're more ingrained with technology. Did you? Good. Right on. Cool. I mean, but I think it's not crazy to think that that is the case also, because, you know, a lot of the younger generations now, we're ingrained with technology. It's something that, you know, we've always had around, and we've evolved with it. It's part of what we do, and so you know, we're, I think, more apt to just utilize that if we were going to do some kind of casino stuff, as opposed to, you know, older generations where it was always the norm to, if you were going to gamble, go physically sit somewhere and do it, you know. And therefore, you know, that's probably, if you wanted to do it, that's more the case. I could totally be wrong though. That's just the way it seems in my head, I guess. Lord of the Rings Gollum has been wandering through Middle Earth for years in search of a solid release date, and seems to have finally found one. The stealth game is coming out on May 25th on PlayStation 4, 5, Xbox One, Series XS, and PC. Switch version is coming sometime later in 2023. So May 25th. New date falls in line with windows that Nacon gave in a recent financial report. While the company said more footage will be available later on Twitch at 10:30 a.m. PT, the trailer appears to have already come out through an unlisted link. However, the date in the trailer is about a month after the day Nacon gave, meaning it seems to have a staggered release date between regions. While this leaked trailer has Japanese text, the dialogue is in English. It has multiple characters, including the titular one and Gandalf. There's not much gameplay in it, but it is in engine and gives a decent look at some of its environments. It's been in the works for many years. Yeah, I think that the premise around this game is very intriguing. That you're playing a Lord of the Rings game centered around the perspective of being Gollum. You know, I think that's pretty neat. We haven't seen that before. And there's a lot of, you know, from what I understand, I've never read these books. I'm going to get a lot of trolling because of that. But, you know, from what I understand about the text, there's a lot of the story that involves Gollum. There's a lot of the story that involves Gollum that you don't see in the shows and things like that. So I think it's cool that they're putting a spin on this in the video game world to give you more of an idea of what Gollum goes through, to get more of that experience of Gollum and that side of things. But there has been a slew of things that have gone on through this development that makes me pretty scared about diving into this on release. It was originally announced in March 2019, slated to come out in 2021 before being quickly pushed to 2022 just after the new year began. Nacon settled on a release date back in May of 2022 before announcing a delay shortly after July, in July, noting that it had to push the game by a few months. Yeah, I know, Mithril. Yeah. Yeah. As with virtually all entertainment, you know. So we'll watch this real quick. Look, man, my wife and kids, as our friendo Baldelli informed me the other day, I am very skewed towards being a nerd, apparently. So being more of a gaming and tech individual, and my wife is more of a geek, yeah. So a book reader, and our kids are like middle road. So our kids are what? Girds. You know, girds. They're yeah. So they read a lot, but they play a lot of video games too. So They got the mix, dude. Yeah, I wasn't aware of what the differencing was between those two terms. I just assumed, I always used them kind of interchangeably. I was like, I'm a geek, I'm a nerd, whatever, same thing, I didn't realize until here recently that we were playing the other day. We were during the stream. Baldelli informed me that there was a definitive difference between being a geek and a nerd. Yeah. So Thanos would be pleased. There you go. Yeah. So my kids read a lot. They also play a lot of games though. So yeah, I don't know, man. I haven't ever been able to like get into reading all that much. It just doesn't suit me, man. It's never been my jam. But I appreciate books very, very much, dude. I really do. But for me, entertainment wise, it just hasn't ever really been my thing. And thankfully, my wife, man, my wife she blasts through books, dude. Blasts through them. So my kids got a good mix of both worlds, mostly when we were young, yeah. But I do know from everything my wife tells me, it's the book is better. The books are better, all the time. Yeah. Read instruction manuals? Yeah. I do that from time to time. I read in game a lot, I read quite a bit. I read in the news every day. I read in games all the time. So to say that I don't read is I don't think fair, but I don't read for leisure. I don't read for entertainment purposes. Like if I had free time, if I've ever had free time in my life, I was never grabbing a book and sitting down to read. I was grabbing a controller, dude. You know what I mean? Let's watch this. A controller or a mouse and keyboard, dude. That's always been my go-to.
Bites steel, grinds hard stones to kneel. So shiny, yes, so beautiful. My precious.
My precious.
The darkness grows beyond our borders. My people are growing anxious.
I'm so hungry.
We cannot let this evil linger among us, Gandalf.
The Dark Lord. What did you tell him?
Nothing. We swears.
The Lord sent me, his emissary, to oversee matters in person. The creature. Bring it back. Kill it.
Oh, spooters.
We must find help. He mustn't see us. No, not him. Don't be scared.
So, sorry, what was it showing something else? No, I don't think so. I mean, is it just me, and look, not for me especially. Everything does not hinge on the graphical fidelity of a game. I'm much more worried about the gameplay elements, how a game feels, how polished is it, and stuff like that. But this game looks like something that would have come out on PlayStation 3. Am I wrong? Oh yeah, Gollum definitely was, yeah, for sure. I mean, just like, and I'm not talking about like the cinematics and stuff necessarily either. I'm just talking about like the game itself looks like dated, almost. It's like every time I see a trailer for it, it looks like some like dated game engine or something that it was being built on. I'm not sure. I don't know why I keep getting that impression from what I'm seeing in it. And again, I'm not one of those people that really at the forefront of my experience is going to hinge on graphical fidelity or anything, but it's like every time I see it, I keep getting that impression. I don't know why. But we'll see if it actually releases, dude. May. It's been delayed a number of times. I think there's reason for concern there, you know? Maybe, dude. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. Could be. So we'll see. We'll see. Honestly, I mean, I hope it's good. I've been interested in this for a while. We followed it for a long time. We've been following this game for a long time because of all the delays, though. And, you know, when you see a game have all these delays, that's one of those things that I talk about quite often is it gets scary for me, yeah. So usually I'll sit back and wait and see what a game tends to review like, get some Metacritic scores out and stuff like that before I take decide to take a dive in. Yeah, I mean, I don't think Shadows of Mordor. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I can see that a little bit. Yeah. So we'll see. I think there's reason to be a little bit sketched out about maybe it on release just because of all the delays, but hopefully it'll be good. I do think the premise around the game and everything is very, very intriguing. I think Gollum's a very interesting character, and like you know, hopefully what they do is focus a lot on being able to flesh out not only who Gollum is but who Gollum was. You know, I think that's very important because Gollum is a very tortured soul, like Ferret said, right? Being once a hobbit and no longer necessarily not hobbit-like at all really anymore, you know what I mean? And how absolutely blinded, you know, he's become with the ring and all that stuff. So it's I think it's a very interesting premise, and hopefully they do a very good job with the I think that's the big thing is the storytelling in the game and what they can do with giving people a great experience and immersion with this character. I think there's a lot of potential here. I hope they do well with it. We'll see. It's coming soon, man. May. Atari's acquisition of Night Dive Studios gets mixed reactions. I don't think this is a bad play by Atari. Atari has acquired Washington-based Night Dive Studios for $10 million. It was like $6 million and then $5 million in like Atari stock or something, I think. I played the first one. What was the first one? Was that Shadows of Mordor or was it? I played the first. I didn't play the second one. Yeah. That's what happens if you skip second breakfast. Yeah, Miss Roll. Yeah. I can't remember. I played the first one a long time ago. Yeah. I never got into the second iteration of the game. First one was cool. I think the second one was supposed to be even cooler, man, because you could actually like mess with their minds and stuff. Yeah, you could, like pull them over to your side and really jack with their heads even more. You know, that looked really cool. I just never found time to dive into it. Atari has acquired Washington-based Night Dive Studios for $10 million, renowned for their efforts in restoring, optimizing, and publishing classic video games, including the recent anticipated remaster of System Shock and Doom 64. The acquisition will be a beneficial addition to Atari's own library of classics as they continue to focus on their growth in the modern retro gaming sphere. Night Dive's expertise in restoring classic video games seems to be the perfect partnership for Atari's goals, considering that the decision was approved unanimously by Atari's board. Night Dive's proven expertise and successful track record in commercializing retro IP is well aligned with Atari's strategy, said Wade Rosen, chairman and CEO of Atari, confident that their combined talent, technology, and IP portfolio will contribute to Atari's future success. Wait, what? The acquisition to be completed in April, many with Atari and Night Dive have shown excitement for the future. That said, most video game fans were less than ecstatic. Atari is acquiring Night Dive Studios. No, I'm not excited about this. What? Huh. There are like 4 comments there. I don't know how much stock to put into that. Everyone make sure to get the Night Dive catalog before Atario crypto shilling collapses, runs out of VC money, and gets bought by Embracer. Yeah, I guess that is one thing to be concerned about there, yeah. Yeah, so, I don't know if you do want some of those Night Dive titles before they start getting, contorted by the Atari world, then that might not be a bad play, So I can see where that comes from. Yeah, there's probably reasonable concern there. Metacritic game publisher rankings. Metacritic has released its annual video game publisher rankings. Let's just see. We'll go straight down to it. Metacritic rankings ranks publishers from worst to best on this list based on point system, calculated according to the following 4 factors: average Metascore for all games released in 2022, percent of scored products with good reviews, Metascore of at least 75, percent of scored products with bad reviews, 49 or lower. In this case, a lower percent is better. A number of great, quote, great titles, Metascore of 90 or higher, minimum of 7 reviews. Yeah, on the Atari. Exactly, dude. Yeah. That was the first console I ever remember playing. My parents had one for a long time. They got it. Whenever I was young, somebody gave them one whenever I was young that like they didn't want anymore or whatever. And we had it in the house for a long time, and I just remember playing it when I was really young. Like a 2600. Yeah. Wish we still had it. With that squared away, here's who came out on top and who bottomed out. Sony taking the top spot. Yo, check this. Wait. Bro. Let's talk about something for a second. Sony, according to Metacritic, is the best publisher in the video gaming industry. Right? Do you guys see Microsoft on here anywhere? Do you see Microsoft anywhere? They'll have subsidiaries in here, right? But Microsoft themselves, the reason that's important, right, is because of who sits at the top right now. And because of this Activision Blizzard deal. This is just another point that Microsoft can make in regards to Sony trying to down them and go, Sony's been sitting on top of Microsoft for or Xbox. So PlayStation's been sitting on top of Xbox for a long time. And Sony Interactive Entertainment is PlayStation's publishing, right? So, right. Yeah. So, there's a lot of stuff that a lot of people have, had pretty good ideas of in regards to the Sony or the PlayStation Xbox, situation in the console wars for a long time. But a lot of it's coming to light with a lot of information that's had to be submitted. There's been subpoenas for information and things like that. And, it's just funny, because of and now look where Activision Blizzard is, though. See? So it's just funny, now that this whole debacle is going on. It's been going on for over a year now, and we're getting all this information. It's like anytime I see stuff like this, I can't help but like take a look at the where people are standing or where these companies are standing, and put it into view based on like what's going on with this potential acquisition. It's kind of funny. Nintendo's down at 12. Good old Devolver, dude. I cannot wait for Devolver's Summer Showcase. I was talking about that yesterday. Devolver does the best flipping showcases, dude. Yeah, Mithril. Yeah. This is what I've been saying the whole time. Like, Sony, it basically doesn't want anything to change. Sony is really comfortable. PlayStation's really comfortable, right? They always have been in this situation. You can't. It's really hard to incorporate Nintendo into this talk because Nintendo's different. They are, yes, they're a competitor in the console war. The console market. There's no doubt about that, right? Square. $26. I'm telling you, dude, Square's falling, dude. I've been watching Square for a while, and I think Square's falling away, dude. I really do. I think they're just they're too greed focused, man, anymore. I don't see Square maintaining, at least not in the way that they used to. Atari's 14, dog. What? Now, again, these are Metacritic rankings, right? This isn't based on how well they do revenue-wise, profit-wise, or anything, but based on Metacritic scores, you know what I mean? And look, a lot of people rely on Metacritic scores for, whether or not they're going to play a game, right? So, it's interesting. Square's way down there, dude. Isn't that Fat Shark? I think that's Fat Shark, dude. Is it not? I don't even see them on here. Oh, but that's who makes it. Does Fat Shark publish too? Let me take a look, dude. That's who devs. I don't know if that's who publishes. Yeah, it's Fat Shark, dude. They develop and publish. Yeah. They're not even on there, dog. Not even on the list, bro. Yeah. Not even on there. Annapurna's really stepped it up here lately, too. Fat Shark, but not Big Fish. Yeah. So, I mean, I mean, back to the whole, like, PlayStation thing. PlayStation's always been good at this. They've always set at the top. Sony/PlayStation. They've always been able to just like be real comfortable for a long time, sitting up there. Proprietary software. They've always sold double the hardware that Xbox has, and they don't want things to change. I've been saying this the whole time. Really, you're surprised to see Capcom up there, dude? Really? Why? So, yeah, the Activision Blizzard acquisition by Xbox is definitely going to change things. And Sony doesn't want it to happen. I mean, I've said this from the get-go. Sony's not good. They're going to do everything they can to prevent it, Random mode. Random mode time. Wait, the one getting shut down. Oh, were they involved with the latest Marvel games? No. No, you talking about Marvel's Avengers? No, dude, that was actually Square. That was Square stuff. And then that got bought out by Embracer. It was the no, that wasn't Capcom, dude. Yeah, totally. Yeah. But who was that? Who did Marvel's Avengers, dude? I can't remember. Was it Crystal Dynamics? Crystal Dynamics, dude. Crystal Dynamics. Yep, I was right. Um, so Crystal Dynamics was uh or is Eidos Montreal. That was Square Enix. Uh, that was a Square Enix owned North American development studio. But whenever Embracer in May of last year, so about a year ago, Embracer came in. They bought all the North American development studios out from underneath Square Enix, along with the Deus Ex, Thief, and Tomb Raider IPs, right? And that's where it changed hands into Embracer. Yeah. Capcom does pretty good though, dude. They usually, I mean, they're usually going to be up in the top 10. I mean, you talk about because they're not just developer, but they're publisher, right? They did develop and publish their own titles, and you talk about all the like Monster Hunter stuff and the Resident Evil stuff, and dude, they've got all kinds of things that they develop. Street Fighter, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. They do very well. So I don't know. You're gonna see Capcom up there a lot. Oh yeah, Capcom's Monster Hunter, dude. Yep. Yeah. I mean, I'm missing a lot of stuff. They're flipping huge, Capcom is so. And this year they've got Exo Primal. They're in the beta of that right now. They got Street Fighter 6 coming out. They're just releasing, the remake of RE4, which right now is being actually did that release yesterday, dude? I think that released yesterday. Hold on. Right, it's getting critic reviewed very well already. Hold on, let me see this. %93 positive right now of over 2,500 reviews since yesterday. RE4. Looks like people are liking RE4 quite a bit right now. Oh yeah, I know, dude. Yeah. Dude, you know what's funny is that like that's another. It's so molding to me because I actually looked at it yesterday real quick. Like this is they've got Square Enix sale, right, dude? Crash game. I don't know about this one. Remake Integrate is broken on PC. They won't fix it. Near Automa. I actually want to play this, but I heard they didn't fix this for like years after it came out on PC too. They're so bad about porting their games over to PC, man. Square pisses me off so bad. It's like Blizzard to me, dude. I grew up playing so many of their titles, being in love with so many of their games, and they've just turned into something that I am not really fond of anymore. And it makes me not want to play any of their stuff, dude. It's just like Blizzard to me, man. I don't know. And a lot of the stuff, like the further I go into, like everything I read about them is just like gross and yeah, exactly, yeah. And I don't ever, I don't expect they'll ever be the same company for sure, but I just keep seeing them go further and further and further away from what they once were. And that's what I've seen from Blizzard over the past decade too, and that's why I've just like I can't support it, dude. I just can't do it, Um I hate it, man. I hate it so much. I mean, Final Fantasy series is I mean, that's tops for me, dude. Final Fantasy and Diablo, man, those are my jams. And I can't either one of those developers, man. Yeah, exactly, Mithril. That's a perfect sentiment right there, dude. That's absolutely what it is. It starts with passionate people with incredible visions for amazing content, and yeah, then it gets lost in greed, dude. It gets lost in greed. Yep. And it's disgusting, man. It's disgusting. I don't know what to say. Like, I won't give Square my money, dude. I just won't do it. And Blizzard's the same way. Like, I just don't want to. I don't want to support them, man. It's pretty nasty. But yeah, I don't know, man. I'll link this for you guys to take a look at. Are there any other notable things on here? Bandai at 24. Here's the thing: if you guys didn't know, Bandai is going to be losing From Software. Yeah, fair. So, Bandai currently publishes From Software stuff, and I've talked about this a couple of times, but recently Sony and Tencent invested in From Software. I think it's at somewhere around 10% of From Software's company, but it's giving From Software enough money to start investing in building up their own publishing, their internal publishing. So From Software is trying to get their own internal publishing going. Yep. I know, Mithril. Yeah, but it's not enough of an investment to have a lot of say in what goes on in their games. So I don't think there's enough to worry about on that front. You know, it's not like they've been bought out or, you know, Tencent owns half the company or anything like that. So it's enough to rub elbows a little bit, but it's not enough for Tencent to have any kind of say in what goes on in their games. We'll see what happens. But what it does give From Software the ability to do is self-publish moving forward. So they're trying to set up their own internal publishing branch, and while, you know, obviously Bandai Namco is still going to have all the previous From Software titles under their name for publishing, the ones moving forward probably won't be. So, oh really? Oh, dude, yeah, I have no doubt. Yeah, I have no doubt. It's incredible. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and you know how you know, so obviously Tencent's the biggest out of there. And then you've got oh god, why am I blanking the other one, the other big one out of China? Help me, dude. Oh god. And it's all because of Blizzard, which they just quit collaborating with publishing Blizzard over in China. But it's kind of funny how that works, you know? No, oh god, dude. NetEase, dude, NetEase. Yeah, NetEase. There you go, Mithril. Yeah, NetEase. Yeah. So, yeah, yeah. Which is funny because that's how NetEase got so big, was because of Blizzard. You know, Blizzard needed a company to help them publish in China, and NetEase came to the rescue, man. And NetEase got huge off of that. And now they're not even collaborating anymore because Blizzard basically like slapped him in the face. Metaphorically, like give him a slap in the face. And NetEase was like, "Nah, we're good. We don't need you anymore." So Blizzard's having to find like a different publisher for getting their games published in China again, you know? Instead of my ranting. Just be pointing out typos. Yeah, no, I mean, it's to be expected, dude. It's to be expected. Yeah. What's funny is I'll get Gabs a lot for it. I get Gabs a lot for it, just because I know that it quite often her typos will be funny, and so that's part of it. But also because I know it molds her out a little bit, you know. But that's the only reason. I don't care about typos, dude. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, Mithril. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. I mean, dude. I mean, as far as that sentiment goes, dude, people are just people, man. I don't care who you are, what your gender is, if you even identify as a gender, what color your skin is, You know what I mean? How tall you are. How many, I don't care if you've got tentacles. You know, if you're you know what I'm saying? All I care about is if you're morally a good person, and that's all that should really matter. The people letting people live their best life is what it should really be about, and we should really, be relishing and praising one another for the uniqueness that we bring to the table, apart from one another, instead of pointing out differences and going, "You're different than me," and trying to down people for it. It's insane that that's the way the world works, and yeah, quite often it's the organizations within which we fall underneath, the reigning governments, or the powerful entities and that reign over us, that decide these stupid, asinine, rules of discrimination, and that shouldn't make any difference. It shouldn't matter at all, and it really creates so much disdain and hate in the world, and it pushes those views upon a lot of other people in the world too, that makes them feel the same way, and there's no reason for it. It doesn't make any sense. So again, I mean, that's the reason why this channel and this community is the way it is. I've always wanted it to be a place where people could come and feel safe and welcome, and they can be who they want to be, and as long as you're, again, morally a good person. That's all it's about, dude. Oh yeah, no doubt, dude. Yeah, no, absolutely, yeah, yeah. Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's a scary world, dude. Yeah, these governments that are in charge of countries and stuff like, they're scary, dude. They're scary quite often. It's a weird world, man. Redfall Studio is working to fix controversial always online requirement. I'm not supposed to promise anything, but we're looking into it. Harvey Smith, creative director for Arcane Studios and its upcoming shooter Redfall, has shared that the developer is working to fix the game's single-player internet requirement. Back in February, publisher Bethesda announced that Redfall will launch with Denuvo. Oh, baby. We all love Denuvo, don't we? Oh, man. Denuvo's so good. Anti-piracy software that requires players to have an internet connection to play any games that use the system. This is DRM, guys. It's DRM. Yeah. If you're not familiar with Denuvo or the term DRM, or it's an anti-piracy incorporation software that often breaks games more than it actually prevents people from Deyucko. There you go, dude. Yeah, it actually ends up affecting the games themselves quite often, performance-wise, drastically. It makes them perform terribly, play horribly, and it doesn't actually prevent all that much piracy, from what I understand. People always find ways around it, from what I gather. I don't know. This proves controversial for two reasons. The first is that Denuvo is alleged to cause performance issues, and the second is that Denuvo would make an internet connection mandatory even for Redfall's single-player story. Speaking to Eurogamer, Smith acknowledged the concerns surrounding Redfall's online requirements. Quote, there are people who live in places that there are outages, or their broadband is crappy, or they're competing with their family members because their mom's streaming a movie on their brother's other device, said Smith. So I think it's a legitimate critique. I didn't know that was the reason they were implementing the all online requirement. We do take it with a lot of empathy, he continued, adding that Arcane has already started to work to address in the future. We have to do some things like encrypt to save your games and do a bunch of UI work to support it. So we are looking into, I'm not supposed to promise anything, but we are looking into and working actively toward fixing that in the future. Elsewhere, Smith also claimed that a PS5 version of Redfall was originally in the works, but was canceled by Microsoft when it purchased parent company Bethesda Softworks. However, Smith admitted that it let Arcane, quote, worry about one less platform, one less complexity, and suggested that Microsoft's Game Pass could lead to greater success for Redfall. Quote, Game Pass has a ton of people that can play, said Smith. It could be our biggest game ever because of the 30 million Game Pass users or whatever that is. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see what happens. The issue of piracy is it's a concern. I would say it's a legitimate, warranted concern. I'm not I don't engage in it. I'm not I understand why people have been prompted to in certain circumstances, and I've talked to people that have elaborated on why sometimes they felt that trying a game out before deciding to buy it is one reason, because again there have been so many instances of developers duping people in the past, having people, yo, Reject, what's up, buddy? Happy Friday, man. Having people pay for a game that got hyped up and didn't follow through on, the promise of what the game was going to provide. That's made people that's made people become very jaded about that process of just wanting to pay for a game up front without being able to experience it first. That's another reason that demos have become a very prominent thing in the gaming industry nowadays, I think. But it's led to people going, you know what, I'm just going to pirate the game. I'm going to play it first. And then I think that people normally in those circumstances have good intentions, and they'll go, well, I'll pay for it. If I like the game and I want to continue playing it and it feels good, I'll pay for it, I'll buy it, and then I'll keep paying it. But I think, the reality of the situation is if they've already gotten the game and they didn't have to pay for it, more often than not, they're probably not going to. Probably. And that's not good for the industry. Oh yeah, for sure. But there are a lot of people that are willing to risk that. I'm not. And it's not just that, but that's a good point, Ferret. Yeah, pirated anything. Whether any kind of pirated stuff, music, movies, games, anything like that, any software. So you're always running the risk of it being injected with some kind of malicious content, malicious code, that whenever you execute it, it's going to end up injecting your device with something bad, and it's ultimately, in my opinion, not worth. Some people don't care, and I'm not going to get into all the ins and outs of you can set up virtual environments, to prevent a lot of issues in regards to that kind of stuff, and that's not what we're here for, right? Ultimately, what it comes down to is, pirating stuff is, in my opinion, bad for the health of the industry. But at the same time, I understand why people have resorted to it in the past, because we got away from demos. People weren't able to try games. I understand why there are reasons why people have done it. Some people just don't want to pay for stuff, right? And that brings another issue into the mix. And when we talk about all the time is the cost of gaming. The cost of gaming is high. It's expensive, and not everybody can afford it. And therefore, that's another reason why people are going to resort to pirating, right? So reject. Yeah, dude. Tent setup, bro. Yeah. Yeah. The new DVD. Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about, dude. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there'd just be like tents set up, dude, with just all kinds of that stuff, man. Yeah. But it's not an easy situation to address, because ultimately, the developers are like, we need to incorporate methods to keep people from pirating our stuff. When I feel like for the most part, a big part at least of the problem of why people have resorted to piracy nowadays is because of what developers have done, to people. So I don't think it's good for the industry. I think that the healthiest way to move forward is to get away from piracy and make sure the developers are bringing good content to the table where we don't feel like we're getting duped and having our money stolen by bad products and things. But I mean, that's like perfect world, right? So I don't know. DRM sucks. Denuvo sucks. It like I said before I even read this, dude, there's been plenty of instances where it's caused significant issues to games when they release. And anytime a game, I think I'm not the only one. When games are announced to be released, and then they go, "Oh yeah, and Denuvo will be incorporated for the game on release too," people go, "Oh no, dude," and they try to stay away from it. I'm one of those people. Yeah, I know, fair. Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm right there with you, dude. I'm right there with you. I think that one of the things that I've been trying to express is that I think there's a difference, though, between a lot of it comes down to like some of these games, like this game right here, like Redfall, and another one that's getting criticized for the same kind of mechanic of always needing to be online, right? Is the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, right? Where it's focused on multiplayer, but you can play it single player as well. And I'm not talking about a campaign scenario, right? It doesn't seem like a campaign scenario. It's like you can just go into the game single player and play. And I think one of the things that is tough from a developer standpoint is if the game isn't always online, that also, incorporates a different level of having to incorporate things to prevent injection of things into the single player environment as it's not being monitored in a constant online state, right? So I think that's one of those things that we have to take a look at. If you're talking about a strictly single player game, a game that only has a single player element, right? There's no need for the online connection. There's just not. And that's stupid. I agree. But these types of titles, I think, are a little bit harder to address because of that element, right? You've got people that, we know this, right? There are people that are going to try to do malicious things to the game. Like, if there's no online monitoring of the game, they're going to try to go in there. They're going to see what they can do with the code. They're going to try to inject like OP items or hacks and cheats into the game while the game's not being monitored in an online state, and try to pull them over into the online state because it might be easier to do while the game's not being monitored. You know what I mean? Things of that nature. So just trying to give people a different way to look at this, right? But a strictly single-player game that has no multiplayer aspect to it, I agree. There's no reason why there should need to be any kind of online connectivity requirement for a title like that. So, I don't know. It's tough. There are a lot of ins and outs, a lot of different ways to think about why or why not, for these kinds of situations. And, is it impossible for them to do a game like this where you could go offline requirement for single player and you would just need a different kind of monitoring system? You'd have to be very good at searching through everything when somebody goes into online and make sure they're not trying to inject anything into the online environment from the single player mode and stuff like that, and have really good safeguards up for preventing people from being able to do anything with the game while they're in the unmonitored single player side of things. It just requires a different kind of implementation for the development of the game, from that standpoint, Yeah, exactly, Reject. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yep. Yep. Oh, I remember, dude. I remember, bro. I played a ton of D1, dude. Yeah, I remember it. Yep. Yeah. So I don't know. It's a tough thing to address, but as far as just the strictly addressing of only a single player title needing an online requirement, that's asinine. I don't agree with that at all. I think that's stupid. And if you anybody is looking for a platform which you don't have to deal with DRM or Denuvo, I played multiplayer in Diablo whenever my friends were able to play too. But dude, we're talking back in like the flipping modem days. You know what I mean? So it's like if a family member used the phone or something, dog. We'd get disconnected or whatever, and sometimes it was just like sometimes single player was a little bit easier. But D2, that's about the only way I played D2 was online, But Diablo 1 days, I got a good mix of both online and single player in. This is Good Old Games, all right? So if you guys aren't familiar with Good Old Games, this is actually a platform that's owned by CD Projekt Red, and they promote their platform as not incorporating any kind of DRM, right? So as long as whatever games you own on their platform are not multiplayer games, like they don't require themselves to have an online connection, if you have the game downloaded and installed, you don't have to connect to their servers at all to play. Single player games or whatever, that's one of the big promotions by GOG, is that as long as the game's already downloaded and installed, you don't need an internet connection to play it as long as it's just a single player title. It doesn't matter to them. You don't need to connect to their servers or anything like that. It's not like Steam. It's not like Steam or Epic. You don't have to log into their platform, connect to their servers. You don't have to be verified with an internet connection to dive in there and play the game as long as it's already downloaded and installed. So if you're looking for that kind of experience from like a PC standpoint platform, then GOG might be your play. They're actually really good too about syncing up your libraries from your other platforms like Steam and Epic and Ubi and EA and all that kind of stuff, dude. So something to think about and look into there for you. Oh, you're lucky enough back then to have campus LAN? Nice. Oh yeah, connection speed was huge back then, dude. Yeah. Yeah. I was like 10 and got duped with a Stone of Jordan trick. Oh, yo, I think that, for a lot of us back then, when we were playing games like D1 and D2, that was we learned some tough lessons back then. Yeah, that's where some of us learned how to not get schemazed in video games. You know what I mean? Those were some lessons. We all learned some lessons. I remember getting duped by somebody in the game. I don't remember exactly what happened. There was a time or two where I was trying to do some trades, dude, and I got ripped off, and I was like, "Oh Jesus, I'm an idiot." And I was like, "That won't happen to me again, dude." There was like a couple of different situations. It wasn't the same thing each time, but it was one of those learning experiences, man. There's some crafty people out there too, man. You got to be careful. But yeah, I remember being absolutely disheartened, man, by getting I don't remember exactly what it was, but dude, I got ripped off in Diablo once, man, and I was like, oh Jesus. I couldn't play it for about a day. I was like, oh God. Oh yeah, I mean D1 and D2, yeah. Yeah, there were ways that people were getting things done. I think there was a scam at one point where things would get traded in at the last second that looked exactly like the item that was being traded for, like Yeah. That's kind of like what Reject's talking about right now too. Yeah. Yeah. It was pretty brutal, man. It was pretty brutal. Yeah. But you learned a lot, dude. You learned those lessons, man. So, I don't know. Well, we'll see what happens with Redfall. Yeah. Elden Ring gets ray tracing, but you'll probably turn it off. Even the developer is recommending only using ray tracing at 1080p resolution. Oh yeah, fair. Yeah, there's things like that would happen. You'd like mouse over and be like, "Oh yeah, we're good," and then you'd go down to click like trade, and they would like swap something in real quick, and they'd have it to where like it wouldn't make a noise or something like that when it got swapped. There was all kinds of stuff that would go on. You know what I mean? So there was some crafty stuff going on back then, man. To rip people off, it was pretty gross. Yeah. The latest Elden Ring update allows ray tracing to be turned on for PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC versions of the game. But there is a downside to using it. As IGN reports, the Elden Ring version 1.09 patch includes lots of balance adjustments and bug fixes, but the headline new feature is the introduction of support for ray tracing. It's available as an option on current-gen consoles and PCs with compatible hardware, but not the PS4 and Xbox One versions of the game. Although ray tracing is now an option, from software is warning that it will negatively impact the performance of the game. The frame rate and resolution will suffer across all platforms, but on PC, the extent of the performance drop will depend on the spec of your machine. For both the minimum and recommended PC spec for playing the game, From Software suggests only using 1080p resolution when ray tracing is turned on. Here's the 2 suggested specifications in full as provided by the From Software sucks with PC. They're terrible, dude. You know what sucks really bad is that like I'm so stoked about them coming out with Armored Core 6, and I probably won't even play it on release because Elden Ring was so bad on PC on release. They suck, dude, at PC ports, at PC versions. They try to port over from their console versions of their games, and they're so bad about it. It's terrible. So I probably won't even play Crisis Core when it drops, even though I want to. Just get a 5090. Yeah, I guess, dude. I don't know. It's so disgusting. Just get a 5090. Yo, just give me $10,000. That's about what the 5090 will cost, right? Jesus. Oh my God. Ferret, why? Yo, Ferret, you left too early yesterday, by the way. You left too early, dude. Yeah, while PS4 runs smooth. Yo, yeah, I mean, that's the issue. We read an article a couple of days ago that was actually a really good article about why like quality assurance is such a critical thing for developers in regards to porting games. And it was a very well written article. And I mean, it's the same thing I talk about all the time. It was just fleshed out a little bit more, you know? Oh, yeah, you missed something, dog. Yeah, you missed something. But I mean, we've seen it happen both ways, but it does seem to happen more often, like for PC games than to like console games, right, Peter? But I mean, we've seen it happen the other way around too. But yeah, quite often developers will go, let's focus on making this game for this platform, and then right before release, we'll try to we'll just port it over to the other one. But they do a terrible job of it. And so it'll feel really good on certain platforms and then terrible on other ones, you know? And that's like some of the more recent examples. Elden Ring felt really good on consoles. It was terrible on PC. Same thing for Hogwarts, man. You know? Yeah, exactly, Reject. Just like Hogwarts. That's what I was doing. The whole time I was playing Hogwarts, I was like, dude, this feels like Elden Ring. Feels like Elden Ring. Everybody was like, oh, dude, feels great on console. It's terrible on PC. You know? So yesterday, Ferret, we're watching the Future Game Show showcase, and there was a section of there's a game being showcased, and there's like it's like a medieval type game, and there are these it was like a cinematic part, and these characters are sitting around a fire, and one of them's like roasting a rat over the fire, And dude, I already knew what was coming, dude. I already knew what was coming. And sure enough, dude, like, Wick goes, "Oh no." And I was like, "Oh no, what?" And he goes, "They're roasting Ferret." Or something like that. I was like, "Bro, I knew you were gonna say something like that." I was like, "Dude, only if Ferret was in here." It wasn't just even the hair and hat stuff, dude. But I mean, I've got clips that aren't even public on YouTube right now. It was I mean, that was just like the cherry on top, if you will. You know, the performance stuff of Hogwarts was so bad that just the constant frame drops and stuttering and everything in the game that you could tell made it so obvious that it was a console game they ported over. Yeah, I know, dude. I know. He just likes to troll, you know what I mean? And it was funny. It was funny. I know. But it's those little things, man, that on top of the performance issues, you know, drives me crazy. But this is what they're saying, man. Minimum 16 gigs of RAM, a 3060 Ti for ray tracing, dude. Or a Radeon RX 6700 XT. They don't want you running ray tracing at anything over a high def resolution or 1080p. Recommended. They want you running a 3070 Ti or a 6900 XT at 1080p. I don't know what, you know, I don't know. Yeah, dude. Yeah. I don't know. There you go. Elden Ring. From Software, dude. Okay, reject. Yeah, dude. Yeah. Microsoft says we haven't pulled any games from PlayStation amid Redfall PS5 discussion. Oh, okay. So developer Arcane has committed on what changed with its vampire game Redfall after Microsoft bought studio owner ZeniMax. Speaking to IGN France, director Harvey Smith said there was a huge sea change for Redfall after Microsoft bought the company, and this included a decision to not bring the game to PS5. They said, no PlayStation 5. Now we're going to do Game Pass, Xbox, and PC, Smith said. Spokesperson for Microsoft told GameSpot that the company has not pulled any games from PlayStation. Microsoft announced its intent to buy ZeniMax in September of 2020 and completed the buyout in March of 2021. Some are suggesting that Arcane was working on a PS5 edition of Redfall and canceled it after the buyout, but Smith did not say this outright. GameSpot has contacted Microsoft in an attempt to get more details on the situation. Some are saying this is a bad look for Microsoft amid its proposed buyout of Activision Blizzard because it shows that Microsoft is taking a formerly multi-platform game developer and assigning them to a single console platform, in this case Xbox. A judge has agreed with the suggestion that Microsoft does not always keep to its public promises. This isn't necessarily enough to make a legal case. And for what it's worth, Microsoft never said it would keep Bethesda games multi-platform following the buyout. Yeah. A lot of this is just asinine stuff. I mean, I think that's what it comes down to. Dude, they act like Microsoft doesn't have any games that are multi-platform, you know? It's like, Microsoft has plenty of games that are multi-platform, dude. But you can't expect Microsoft just like you can't expect PlayStation, or you can't expect Xbox just like you can't expect PlayStation, just like we know you can't expect Nintendo to put their titles on all the other platforms all the time. You know Nintendo's not going to do it. But for PlayStation and Xbox, you know, quite often they're not going to do that. That's the name of the game, dude. So I don't know why people are flipping out. PlayStation doesn't do it. Xbox doesn't do it. Nintendo doesn't do it. So what's the big deal? They do it with some of their content, and a lot of their other content is proprietary, right? They make it their platform only, at least for a limited amount of time, you know, because that's the name of the game. So whenever this stuff happens, it's like, what are you guys making a big deal about? You act like this isn't the same thing that's been going on for the literal history of consoles, you know? I don't get it. Beloved Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle graphic novel, The Last Ronin, is becoming a video game. TMNT, The Last Ronin, is inspired by big action RPGs like God of War. Dude. Looking good. I like that. A new, very different style of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game is currently in development, an adaptation of The Last Ronin, the 2020 graphic novel that told a grim, futuristic story about the Turtles. My daughter's probably going to be stoked about this. Like the comic, The Last Ronin video game adaptation will be a darker, more mature take on the typically colorful Ninja Turtles, according to Doug Rosen, Senior Vice President for Games and Emerging Media at Paramount Global, the rights holders for TMNT. In an interview with Polygon last week, Rosen likened the upcoming third-person action role-playing game to Sony's recent God of War titles and said it will be authentic to the story of The Last Ronin arc, which is set in a future where only one of the turtles has survived. I mean, is it about Raph? Started to embody them all. That's what I was going to say. I was like, dude, he's thick like Raphael, but he's got all the weapons, and he's wearing purple. You know what I mean? So I was like, who is it? You know, did Donnie get thick? Did Donnie get thick, bro? No, but oh, it's black, dude. That looks purple to me, dog. It's supposed to be black. Oh, yeah, that looks like it's got a purple tint to me, dude. Nice reject. Cool, man. Thanks. He started to embody them all and learned all their skills, so he's a master of them all. Sick, dude. Oh, man, this could be good. This could be good. Well, other TMNT games like last year's Shredder's Revenge are typically about playing as all four turtles, and sometimes their allies. The Last Ronin will be a primarily single-character game. Though Rosen posited that other characters could be playable in flashback sequences, similar to how the comic series plays out, the primary action is said to center only on the surviving turtle. Oh, dude, that's sad. The identity of that lone remaining Ninja Turtle was something of a mystery when the Last Ronin comic series was announced. The arc's story was built around a Ninja Turtle who wore a black mask and fought using all four turtles' signature weapons: nunchaku, sai, bow staff, and dual katanas. It wasn't until the final pages of the first issue of The Last Ronin where the lone surviving turtle's identity was revealed. Michelangelo. It's Michelangelo, dude. My daughter actually did call it too. She's over here right now. She said Mikey. The remaining turtles and Master Splinter have all been exterminated by the Foot Clan, leading Mike to seek justice for their deaths in a battle-ravaged New York City. Publisher IDW launched The Last Ronin in 2020 as a 5-issue miniseries. The arc was written by Kevin Eastman, and based on the idea he first conceived with TMNT co-creator Peter Laird in the late 1980s. Could have been, dude. Could have been. That is pretty rad. I agree. Yeah. Like the Last Ronin comic book series, the video game will target an older audience, just like the recent collaboration with Call of Duty that brings Shredder to Activision's shooter franchise. Rosen said there are opportunities for multiple TMNT games aimed at both young and more mature age groups, and that Paramount can take multiple approaches to the franchise and not dial back to make the game something it shouldn't be. Oh, bro, could you imagine? Oh, dude, they could do like TMNT, The Last Ronin, like movie adaptation or a series adaptation too, but make it super mature. Oh God, that'd be so dope, dude. Give us like an adult version of a Turtles spinoff, you know? The Last Ronin video game adaptation is being developed by an unnamed studio. Is likely a few years off from a release, Rosen said. But like throwback beat-em-up Shredder's Revenge developed by Tribute Games and .emu, and the Cowabunga Collection developed by retro game collection experts Digital Eclipse, Rosen said they found the right partner to adapt The Last Ronin into an ambitious AAA video game. Rosen said to expect more details on The Last Ronin and much more from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in video games in the coming months and years. Ooh, dude, I am excited. I'm excited. Joe reject, yeah. Yeah, I'd be down for that, dude. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. This is intriguing, dude. You know what's going to be really sad? Like this being Michelangelo, they're going to take Michelangelo from being the like comic relief, you know? Mikey's always been the lighthearted, chill, comic relief aspect of the group. And he's going to be dark. It's going to be so sad. I'm so excited. I'm so excited, dude. Everything announced at the Future Game Show Spring Showcase powered by the Turtle Beach Stealth Pro. Yeah, so we watched this yesterday to end the stream with, right? But why does everything have to be dark? I don't feel like everything is dark. It would have been an easier transition for sure, Reject. But I feel like it's a cooler dynamic building off of taking the turtle that was always a bigger contrast to that mindset and having them have to take on that darker role, you know? So Mithril, this is what I'll say, dude. I get really tired of the Disney thing. And I don't see everything as having to be dark. I don't see everything being dark. I see a lot of my perception of things is I see a lot of characters that should be made dark that get the Disney treatment, if you will, even if it's not made by Disney. Like you take something like Venom, right? Well, I mean, so, but I mean, though that's the way those were written, also. Those are just traditional stories that were kind of written that way. Like Harry Potter, like the first 2 to 3 movies, like and 2 to 3, like the series, like starts off as kids and it's more lighthearted and it gives you it's a way for you to get familiar with who they are as younger individuals and and it really draws you into them and then as they grow older, you get into more adult themes and serious themes with those characters and you just grow up with them a little bit, So I don't know. I guess you're getting both of those worlds, right? Whereas what I see a lot of times with adaptations is like I was talking about with for example, like Venom, right? Not that it's I see a lot of characters that were traditionally taken from like comic books and stuff like that were normally pretty gnarly, but they get they get dumbed down, if you will, to appeal to a younger audience, and that's a turnoff to me. Um, like Venom's a gnarly character, and if you made that in like a mature manner, they really could have made the Venom's character shine, um, and instead they do it in like a let's appeal to a younger audience, and for me that's a huge turnoff. I hate that. I know why they do it, but I hate it. Disney fairy tale movie, yeah. Yeah, well, fairy tales traditionally, yeah, were super, super dark. They were told by parents to their kids back in the day to scare them away from and try and keep them safe. You know what I mean? So I understand your side of it too, Mithril, but I see a lot of stuff nowadays that for me, I would like, because, and part of it's my personality, dude. I like dark stories. I like villains, So that's like one of the reasons that, like, I like seeing darker stories. I like seeing the villain side of things, even anti-heroes. I like anti-heroes. I like villains. The Joker movie, dude, I thought was great. I hope the next one's really good too. I like seeing that side of the Joker. Not that I don't dig some superhero stuff, like Iron Man was dope. And dude, I love Wolverine, but I love Wolverine because he's not a tried and true hero. He's conflicted, dude. He's more of an anti-hero than he is a superhero, in my opinion. But that's another one of those characters that throughout the history of Wolverine's character, there's been some gnarlier aspects of that story that haven't really been able to play out in a lot of mainstream entertainment, because they've tried to appeal to a wider range of audience, Yeah. So I don't know. Speaking of Venom, yeah. Right, exactly. Yeah, Reject, yeah. So I don't know. Now apparently what we're hearing about the new Wolverine game being made is that they're trying to make it a more mature game, which would be really cool. But I see a lot of stuff nowadays that gets the Disney treatment, if you will. I mean, that's what I refer to it as, even if it's not made by Disney. I see a lot of stuff that gets like for me, man, I can't dive into Star Wars stuff. It's just too Disneyed. Now Disney does have Star Wars. They do own Star Wars. They make Star Wars. And like for me, I want to see more of the Sith side of stuff. I want to see some gnarly, more adult themed Star Wars, like dark stuff come out of it. Because all I get really, dude, is like raw Jedi stuff, and that doesn't appeal to me, man. I don't want that. I want the other side of it. I want to see the other side of it. And I get why they do it, but at the same time, I feel like there's way more of the good guy stuff out there. The hero aspect, the light side of stuff than there is the showing the actual, the darker side or the even I like to see, the whole time I was playing Breath of the Wild, I was like, dude, we're just playing the game as the villain. We're playing the villain's actually the Link, or Link's actually the villain. We're if we were Ganondorf's just trying to protect his land, you know what I mean? Right. Yeah, Reject. Right, dude. Right. Yeah. I understand that, dude. I understand that, Mithril. Yeah. And everybody's gonna have a different. I mean, I think that's the thing is like, I'm just speaking about my own personal viewpoint on things, also, So, and look, dude. So as far as that goes, I'm sorry that that's the way your life is, and you need some more light in the life because there's just so much dark. But I can attest to the same thing. I mean, I think a lot of us in the world we are exposed to a lot of real life dark stuff all the time. Seems like a bleak world we live in quite often. You know what I mean? So I understand that. I think just personality wise for me, the darker, more ominous vibes of things appeal to my personality more, and that's where I have a hard time because I don't see as much of it in the entertainment. So whenever all I see is superhero this and superhero that and Jedi this and Jedi that, it's like I'm just not seeing the stuff that appeals to my personality as much. And I mean, it has nothing to do with me like necessarily being a bad person or anything, you know what I mean? Because otherwise this community wouldn't be built up like that. It's just what appeals and I want to see more of, Yeah. So, but I get where you're coming from too, buddy. Yeah. And I think a big part of it too is, like I said, I would like to see more of the true side of the way a lot of these characters were developed in the first place. As opposed to the way their stories have been a bit contorted and adapted to appeal to maybe a more youthful audience. Get back to more of a true telling of who they were originally. You know, I think that's also something that I miss a bit. We do have a new Spawn movie that's supposed to be being made right now too, though. Yeah, I know, but no Sith, dude. When am I going to get to play a Star Wars game again as a Sith Lord trying to take down all the Jedi? You know, well, living my best Sith life, dude. There is supposed to be a new Spawn movie being made, though, and I'm really hoping that they're doing Spawn justice, because that would be really cool. I tried to go back and watch the old Spawn movie here recently. It was terrible. Aside from John Leguizamo playing the clown, is it Jamie Foxx? Is it really? Dude, Knights of the Old Republic is GOAT, dude. Coder is GOAT, dude, Peter. That's the last you heard, really? Jamie Foxx, dude. Really? I don't dislike Jamie Foxx. I think he's a pretty talented individual. It's hard for me to see him playing Spawn, though. Why not like Eldris Elba? You know? Seems like that could have been a good play there. Did I get his name wrong? Something like that, right? That seemed like that could have been a good actor to play Spawn. He's a great actor, too. Reject. Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's keep going, dude. I'm getting off on so many rants today, dude. We're going long. All right, so we're going to blast through this real quick. I'll probably just look through. I'll name these games out real quick. We watched this yesterday, so I'm not going to take a bunch of time on this, but it was just as a quick recap for everybody. The games that we saw yesterday in the Future Game Show Showcase, which we watched at the end of the stream. Here's the games, okay? And I'll link this for you guys to take a look at too, okay? Witchfire, Sifu's Arenas expansion, Miasma Chronicles. This looks like this could be pretty cool, actually. Miasma Chronicles. Ravenbound, Arc Runner. This is already on my wish list. It's something that could be potentially good. Hyenas. I think Hyenas is on my wish list too. But I don't know. I think this is either going to be decently fun or is probably going to be not good. This is a shooter game where you're going to be dealing with like two different environmental elements of gravity and then 0G for a shooter game. And it has that premise alone, I think, is very intriguing, but we'll see, man. The Entropy Center. Wrestle Story looked pretty cool. This is like a wrestling RPG game. It looked like it could be pretty cool. I wish listed this. After Us, Synced. Synced is a game that's coming out. It's like a free-to-play looter shooter, it looks like. We'll see. The Expanse, a Telltale series. Distant Bloom, The Last Case of Benedict Fox. We've seen this a few times over some recent showcases. It looks like it could be a pretty cool little game. Decarnation. Wait. Okay. Park Beyond. I think Wick stated it best yesterday. Park Beyond is like theme park or roller coaster tycoon on a massive amount of steroids. It looks absolutely insane. Pizza Possum, Shadow Gambit, The Cursed Crew. This actually doesn't look bad either. This is the same developer behind the Shadow Tactics games, if you know what those are. So that looked like it could be pretty cool. Axis Unseen. This is a really wild take on like a horror game. It looks pretty wild. This is the second time I've seen this now. Axolotl. Dude, as soon as this game came up with a still image of the game, I said, this looks a lot like Enter the Gungeon. And dude, as we saw gameplay of it's AK Axolotl, right? It looks just like Enter the Gungeon. It is a bullet hell game where you're like creating different axolotls to go through the game with and stuff. But so like roguelike element and everything too. Dude, it looks just flipping like the gameplay looks just like Enter the Gungeon. So it looks really cool. I mean, I loved Enter the Gungeon, so I'm interested. Fort Solis, Combat Champions, Primordial's Legends, Hollow Hero. This looked like it could be interesting. It looked pretty. I think the gameplay elements are really going to tell the tale here. Is it going to feel fresh and nice all the way through, or is it just going to feel like repetitive combat kind of stuff? But it looks interesting. Men of War 2 is a strategy game, kind of like, for World War II. But think about like, oh God, why am I blanking the name of that game? Like the old Red Alert games, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Dave the Diver. This looks interesting too. A scuba diving sushi game. So you like go scuba diving for fish, but there's all kinds of gnarly stuff down there trying to kill you. And yeah, it's an RTS game. Yeah, Chain. I was just trying to think of the name of the game. I was trying to like give you guys an idea to go to with. What's up, Chain? How you doing, buddy? So you're like going underwater and you're like trying to fish and but you're being attacked by like gnarly sharks and everything at the same time. Red Alert, that's what it said. Then you're like taking the catch back up to this like shop so sushi could be made and stuff. Word up, buddy. It's good to see you, man. Happy Friday. Fountain of Youth. Oh yeah, this is the one where you're like a shipwrecked, like kind of 16th century explorer. It looks like it has some like horror vibes to it and stuff. Kind of crazy. Battle Shapers. It almost looks like somebody's take on like a Overwatch styled kind of game, roguelike shooter. I don't remember much of the Stranded Alien Dawn one. I might have been talking too much. Dredge. Dude, this comes out in like 6 days. I might start playing this. Actually, this is a cool looking like fishing RPG game, man. And if you're out at night, then you start like having all these like sea monsters pop up and stuff. This game looked really dope. And I love fishing games, man. We're going to have something else to play next week anyways a little bit because Pinky's going to be working afternoons. So the gameplay for Divinity will be put on hold until the following week when he gets back to day shift so we can continue our co-op experience. But this looks really neat, really neat. Fishing games on the Switch? No, I don't. I don't usually dive into like... So the last time I played like full fishing games was way back in the day on like Super Nintendo and stuff. Really, it was like what was it, like Super Black Bass and stuff like that. Dude, I love those games. But fishing in games is really dangerous for me. Like, because a lot of games have fishing as like a mini game, and dude, that's such a dangerous thing for me. And this one looked really cool because you're like going fishing. You're having to upgrade your boat, upgrade your equipment. You're doing that by like taking the fish back and selling them, and it's got the whole sea monster vibe to it and stuff. It looks really, really cool. New World Fishing was good. Yeah. Word. Oh, for real, Chain? Dude, I loved the old school fishing games, dude. Like on the Super Nintendo and stuff. Man, they were so great. Castlecraft. Yeah. Western Front, that's another RTS game with World War I stuff going on. Go Fight Fantastic. War Tales. Ixion. Mika and the Witch's Mountain. Go-Go Town. There's some more fishing for you. Dying Light 2. They've got DLC coming for that. That's what they're talking about there. Viewfinder. This looks like a crazy little puzzle game. We've seen this before too. Kayla, what's up? Oh, the Bassmaster games. Oh, yeah, yeah, dude. Nice. Viewfinder looks crazy. It's like a cool, pretty little like unique puzzle kind of game, dude. It's kind of wild. Paranormal Tales is already on my wish list too, even before yesterday. And this looks like this could be a pretty nice little game, being built on UE5 and everything too. So this might be something. If it comes out before October, man, we'll probably play this in Scaretober this year. But we'll see when it drops. There's a lot of stuff. It was like an hour and a half long showcase yesterday. So it was pretty good stuff. They showed off a lot of stuff. It was pretty nice. If you want more out of that, take a look. Again, I'm not going to take a deep dive into all those right now because we watched it together yesterday, but it was worth taking a dive back into recapping it for you guys and letting you take a look yourself if you want. Witchfire reveals a surprisingly deep magic system at the Future Game Show. Yep. I'll just show you real quick.
In this video, I want to show you.
So we saw this yesterday during the showcase too, but I'll just let you watch it again. Witchfire looks like it could be cool, man.
Is that we have two types of spells in the game. Light spells are quick, easy to execute, and cost a relatively small amount of stamina. Heavy spells, as you can imagine, are slower to execute, and it takes longer for our witch hunter to regenerate before he can use one again. The heavy spell we are seeing here is a cursed phantom bell that you can ring up to 3 times with your bullets. Ringing the bell stuns all nearby minor enemies, and if repeated properly, it can stun even major enemies.
This one's been getting hyped up for a little while now.
The second thing to know about spells in Witchfire is that most of them are based on 4 core elements: water, earth, fire, and air. Each element has its own unique property. For example, enemies set on fire receive more damage. On top of that, elements interact with each other in intuitive ways. Here, I attack an enemy with Shock Light spell. The damage and the elements spread to other nearby enemies.
What people Bioshock Airbender sweet. Now, yeah, that's what I was just thinking. I was like, man, I didn't really think about it yesterday while I was watching this, but right now while I was watching it again, I was like, dude, this kind of reminds me of Bioshock a little bit. So that's funny, dude. We're thinking the same exact thing, man.
And that is because the source enemy was burning, receiving more damage from my bullets. And these are the basics of the spell system in Witchfire. Spells are as important in the player arsenal as his weapons, and using both is the key to survival in the land of the witch. Thank you for watching.
Yeah, no doubt, Doug. Yeah. Yeah, so we've seen some other stuff on Witchfire. They are hyping it up, man. It's been in development for a while, and it looks like it's on its way pretty soon. So, there's that. Epic Game Store gives out 2 free games to close out March. These went free yesterday, if I remember correctly. Might have been the day before, but basically right now you can get Chess Ultra and World of Warships on Epic Games platform for free. Okay, so free games, easy. Again, I say it all the time. Even if you don't game on PC right now, there's a chance that maybe you will start doing some PC gaming at some point in the future. All it takes is, I mean, you can just get on their web browser, you know, their website on a browser. You can create an account, which takes like 3 minutes, and then every week log in once a week, grab your free games. By the time you start gaming, even if you're not a PC gamer, you'll have a big library built up of games to play off of, you know. So in the world of gaming nowadays, which can sometimes be very, very expensive, getting free games is a pretty nice little benefit, and Epic does it all the time. So every single week, get in here and get your free games, man. So Chess Ultra, World of Warships for $0 besides a couple of minutes of your time, you know. Also, what was the one? Steam's giving away a game right now too. Sludge Life. Sludge Life is normally a $15 game. It's not showing right now because I already added it to my library. But Sludge Life on Steam. Steam's starting to give away some more free games than they used to, and I think it's because of Epic. But it's just not promoted on their site quite like it is on Epic. So Sludge Life, also a free title. I'll link this for you guys. So, free games, man. Get your free games. Can you not, dude? Okay. Take-Two Interactive has acquired mobile retro games sub-service Game Club. The publishing giant has acquired the subscription-based startup for an as-yet undisclosed sum and purpose. Take-Two has acquired multi-game subscription service Game Club for an as-yet undisclosed sum. News broke with multiple official sources, including Ampere Analysis. Piers Harding rolls via Twitter. Take-Two has acquired mobile multi-game subscription service Game Club. Game Club is a small independent player offering its services across iOS and Android, competing with Apple Arcade and Google Play Pass. Some obvious synergies with other mobile acquisitions include Zynga. Yeah, okay. It's unclear at present what Take-Two intends to do with Game Club, but an obvious option would be to use the service as the perfect place to house Zynga titles, allowing them to live on forever with fee-paying fans. Notably, Game Club has also stated that it intends to expand its service to offer non-mobile games, which could see it offer further titles from the broader Take-Two portfolio as part of its subscription service in the future. The move certainly cements a drive for Take-Two to maintain and solidify its position in mobile, especially in the light of recent rumors of a Sony buyout. With PlayStation steadily increasing its profile in the mobile space, this rumored acquisition just got a little more attractive. Okay. Man, the world of acquisitions, you know what I mean? It just never stops. Never stops. 9 minutes of gameplay footage from Remnant 2. You guys ready? Remnant 2 looks good. I still haven't played Remnant 1. I have it, and I haven't even played it. I would like to. Remnant 2 looks pretty solid, man. Gearbox Publishing and Gunfire Games have shared a new video showcasing 9 minutes of gameplay footage from Remnant 2. This video features pre-alpha gameplay of Yesha, one of many environments you'll encounter in the game. Remnant 2 plunges players deeper into a devastated world, requiring a mix of methodical and frenetic ranged and melee combat against cunning enemies and punishing boss battles. Each time players start a new playthrough of Remnant 2, they will be brought into a new world built from a wide pool of locations, enemies, NPCs, bosses, and weapons. These dynamically built levels will attempt to offer unique experiences. An updated archetype system will give players more flexibility to play their play style. Furthermore, it will let groups better sync unique passive abilities and powers together in co-op play. Players will also be able to unlock multiple archetypes, level them up, and equip them together for a wide variety of play styles. Lastly, the game will have branching quest lines, augments, crafting, and loot rewards. We love loot, baby. All right, let's see this. This is the last article for today, by the way. If anybody has anything else to add that we should cover, then let me know. We'll discuss it after this and before we move on to some Warframe this morning while we wait for Pinky to get home for the Divinity gameplay. I heard good things about Revenant 1, but I never got to dive into it. Okay. Okay. Might be more of a Warframe day than I thought it would be. Looks like Pinky's having a maybe an extended day at work. We'll see. He said, "Get him, doggy." I think where you know, this type of game is gonna shine is like the multiplayer. I love multiplaying these types of titles together with friendos, man.
Glad that's over.
I wasn't really getting to pay too much attention right there, but I didn't see like really any kind of loot drop. Did anybody see any? Jeebus, dude. So I don't know if this is like a traditional loot and shoot type of game, or if you... God, look at that flipping saw sword, dude. God dang. Or if it's more like you just get loot, like... and upgrades and stuff after you finish running missions, things of that nature. Oh my god, dude. Yeah, okay, so there's definitely loot dropping, yeah, alright. Oh, he's getting wrecked. No, show me the loot pickups. Dang it, dude. What's LB? Is that like a controller thing? I'm just playing. Ooh, tentacles, dude. Let's go. I have heard that like the Revenant 1 was a fairly brutal game. Lots of dying, from what I understood. Bro, those homing shots are rude. Mom? It's called Mother Mine. No way, dude. What? I nailed it, dude. Oh, they allow you to switch shoulders when you're shooting, dude. That's cool. Did you guys notice that? Switching the camera over to different shoulders while you're shooting. That's pretty dope. That looks like some pretty gross, like, AoE stuff there. Like AoE dot damage stuff. It's hard to not get hit by that, huh? Huh. Okay. Well, that looked cool, man. Remnant 2 looks cool. I would love to play Remnant 1 for a little bit at some point. It was supposed to be pretty solid, so that's the news, baby. Them's the jams. You guys rock, dude. Appreciate you. Great new segment as always. We're gonna go play some Warframe for a little bit, and then we'll get back into Divinity. Divinity Day 10 with our buddy Pinky. Happy flipping Friday, man. The weekend's here. It's good stuff. Yeah. Yeah, Mithril. Yo, dude. Yo, you got the emote now, dog. You know what I'm saying? There you go, dude. You guys rock, man. I appreciate you. Thanks for being you. Thanks for being a part of this all the time. Great news segment. Let's go do some gaming. But before that, if anybody is checking out this content as a VOD or a highlight on the Twitch channel, VOD on the YouTube channel, you're enjoying the content or any of our other content from gameplay episodes to funny clips or other news segments or whatever, and you're interested in what we're doing here, then try to come hang out with us when we go live at 6 a.m. CST every single day. We always start off with video gaming news, and we dive into video gaming content, gameplay after that. We have a good time. Lots of cool people hang out here, and we'd like to have more like-minded, cool peeps come hang out with us, man. So, I don't know. Other than that, stay healthy, stay safe, be kind. Happy Friday, and we will catch everybody tomorrow for our next edition of Video Gaming News on March 25th. All right.